Hello and welcome to my 2026 reading journal setup. There are many pages to set up, so this video is gonna take a while. It was 6 hours of footage, so I've managed to edit it down to about a little bit over half an hour, but it was quite long. So I am going for a light academia theme, and there are some pages that I pre-made and printed. So for example, the year published one, I got all of these little elements of Google and then I recolored them, and then I made that spread just as a printout to glue down, because there was no way that I would be drawing all of these things by hand. So I've changed a little bit how I do the dates, and I decided to have 2026 as a separate year because I found in 2025 I was mostly reading half books from the 2020s and half it was published in 2025, so I put 2026 as its own color, and then I merged some of the other dates so that it is closer to like how much I am realistically going to read from like pre-1500s or like 1600s, 1800s, 1900s, all of that. So yeah, pre-1800s, what am I saying? I had a pre-1500s last year and it wasn't working. So then the other change I made, I had the format page as a 2-page thing, and I realized that it didn't need to take that much space, and if I made the columns instead of vertical horizontal, then I could fit it all in one page. So I did those columns horizontal, and then I split to I think it's about 18 boxes or around that number. I found the most I read in 1 month last year was about that much, so I didn't need any more. Like August was the longest reading month because I was off for the full month, and just for that month, like, it wasn't worth trying to make a really long column. But it's still at that number, but horizontal, and if it's fine. So I used a set of washi tapes that I bought, which I will link below, which is all kind of academia and old scrolls and things like that. You can see some of them up on the right corner is the box, and you'll see different tapes from that being used. And then my letters on a white background, they are from a dual set where I use them all the time. You'll probably have seen them in other videos too. So I rip a few things, and then I got gold letters for all of the headers, and I tried to make the headers sound a little bit more academic. So you'll see that it has like medium analysis, for example, for this page instead of format. So everything is adapted to look a little bit more academic. And then I got that washi tape that I'm cutting off from there that has a few like images of statues and stacks of books and some candles and glasses and bookcases and women reading. So that was more like the vibes, so I've used that PET tape a lot. And these are the gold letters. I've sped that bit up quite a long, I think that's the 20 times sped up, because it takes a long time to take each individual letter out, but I really do like how it looks, and it's iridescent and sparkly, so I do really enjoy that one. So yeah, that's the medium analysis page, and I made a quick key so I know what color I'm going to be marking each book, if it's a physical book, a digital book, or an audiobook. And then I had some cups and things like that I add some extra elements. I also got 2 sticker books, which again I will link them down below. One is more of a reading theme, and that's the reading theme, and the other one is more of a ancient culture theme. So I use a mix, and some elements overlap, like some ancient statues, some things that can be perceived more as academia, and some are more like travel, ancient civilizations, and reading, that kind of vibe. Again, I'm using my Uniball pens because I know that I will be using these throughout the year. I've been using them for many years since I started teaching, so I know I will always have these colors. Because the glitter pens that I have used in some other videos, I got them maybe like halfway through 2025 and I've already run out for most of them, so I didn't want to risk that. Okay, so this page is a new page. So I had last year a pages and hours page, and that was nice to track, and I still wanted to track that, but just those two stats I didn't think were worth an entire layout. So I decided to create some more data that I wanted to have in one graph, so that took a double page. So it's gonna be pages and hours and books read and which formats, how many of each one, and then if I bought new books, if I got these like for money, and if some of them were for free from like free libraries or giveaways or overflow from school that I tend to get home some of the books if the school doesn't want them anymore. And then also at the end how many books I donate, because I have limited space, so I can't keep everything. So I might take some books from school and read them, and then if I then don't want to keep them forever, then I might give those back. Not back to school, but I might give them to charity or give them to kids as like assessment, top grading class reward, and they get to have a free book and keep. And obviously I want to have read these books in advance to make sure that they are good books that the children would enjoy, because sometimes like if it's a bad book, I'm not going to give it to a kid then, because I want them to have good examples for writing. These borders actually, they are paper stickers, the one with the flowers that I put, and I bought a set of them with slightly different designs. And when I was putting them on that page, like in about 5-10 minutes when I was doing the rest of the designs, they started coming off, so I had to go over with clear tape and tape over them and make sure they stick. So I'm not going to use any more of that set in the rest of the layouts, because I realized there was no point, and I would have to add more tape to keep them down, and it was just a bit too much trouble. Then the other stickers that I'm gluing, again, they're coming off those sticker books and that PET tape. And then is the title again. So instead of monthly stats or something like that, I renamed that as annual review because it sounds more like academic. So that's the full page, and then for any comments that I have at the end of the year, I have that empty space to do. Now, these two pages were new, so I've seen a lot of people do a rainbow challenge and a book bingo, so I wanted to try these out. I didn't have them last year, so I have all of these different inks that came in a set. So I thought for a rainbow challenge I can use the inks and make kind of a rainbow gradient, and then that took a while to dry. So in the meantime I started working on the page next to it, which is a book bingo, but it is fantasy specific. So I realized that I mostly read fantasy. Like this year, out of 110 books I've read, I would say like 80% or 81%, but 80 books have been fantasy so far. So I thought I would make a bingo with fantasy tropes or fantasy things that exist. So that's what I decided to do. I did have a more academic name prepared, but then I forgot about it, what it was. So I did end up naming that one a fantasy bingo, but it's fine. It's the first time I'm trying a bingo, and it's fair enough. So I do have a few different things that fantasy books that I read often contain. So if I find what these are. Right, so we have cozy fantasy, which I would say is one of my main fantasy genres, fae, demons, vampires, school-based, witches, high fantasy, fantasy romance, fairy tale retellings, gods, animals, dragons, shadow daddy, on earth, enemies to lovers, fantasy realm, ghosts, romantasy, pirates, war, werewolves, mermaids, shop-based, knights, and shifters. So I think for knights it's gonna be the Knight and the Moth sequel when it comes out, most likely. But there have been a few things that have knights actually, and it is an interesting trope. So I believe I will manage to do all of these. Like for demons, for example, I've started Kingdom of the Wicked, so if I read more of those books, which I plan to, that's probably gonna cover that. Witches, again, I've read a lot with witches this year. I didn't expect to, but it worked. So these are my main fantasy kind of themes. And again, there's more stickers from the sticker books and that PET tape. Again, I will try to link everything below if you're interested in any of those materials. If you haven't set up your journal or you want to do some light academia themes, so that you know where to find these items. So by this point the left page had dried, and like this point means about 40-50 minutes later. So yeah, it takes a lot for these inks to dry, especially if you are layering them and all of that. And I think my camera also either ran out of battery or memory. This happens a few times and I don't realize and I keep doing things. So I glued these colorful books. They are in a washi tape all in one, so I glued the tape with the books, and then I made spaces for the covers for each of the colors, wrote which colors I want, and then I put the header, which again, instead of Rainbow Challenge, I was going to do prismatic analysis. I realized I didn't leave enough space, so it turned out to be prism graph. So I have pink, red, orange, yellow, green, turquoise, light blue, dark blue, because there's a lot of blue books, although I haven't read that many. Most of them tend to be black, but okay. Purple, white, and black. So I think black is going to be filled out very fast. Now then I wanted to make some things on the computer, some elements. So the next 2 pages that I made were for 2 of the challenges that I do. So I follow 3 reading challenges. Last year it was just the one, the Aeldia one, but the Aeldia video is not out, so I can't set up those pages yet. I'll show at the end. I've just left space for them. However, Susie from the Jellyfish Journals made a new challenge, and I've been watching her this year, and I really like her videos, and I really like the concept of jellyfish. And she basically had a whole announcement video, which I will link down below, but she had this poster with different jellyfish, and she assigned a prompt to each type of jellyfish, and she got these jellyfish pictures. I then took the pictures and made that page on the right on the computer, and for that and the other challenge where I made the creatives on the computer, I will try to have that file linked in case you are also doing the challenge and you want that printout easy to just have and put in your journal. So it's for an A5. So then I bought these jellyfish stickers specifically for this, and I had that printout of a moon that kind of fit the colors, and some papers that were wrapping papers for things. I ripped them all, so in purple, black, blue, which were the colors that were in the jellyfish that I used across. So I made a little cover for it, and then the space there where all the books will go, and then the prompts on the bottom right. So it was a really quick and easy one to make, and it doesn't fit the rest of the theme, but I think challenges don't necessarily need to. And that again, I used the same type of format. This is Jashi Corin's Year of Goober challenge, and it's a micro bakery themed. So basically I took the Goober creative and the list of prompts and that bookcase or bread case, I guess, and I put them all on a PowerPoint, did the background space holder for both challenges in the same way, and then I printed that off, so I will try to link that as well. Right, so now I am doing the book bracket. So I did a different style book bracket with like each side was left and right, and then it was meeting in the middle. And this year I decided to switch it up, so like all of the months are at the bottom and then it goes up and up and up, so I would have more space. Because with the other format where you start like 6 months on one side, 6 on the other, and they meet in the middle, it leaves awkward spaces on the middle where it became thinner, and it wasn't very good for decorating. It became very dead space in the middle that I didn't want to put things in. So I thought if I do it in this way, then I can put a lot of decorations on the top corners. And for that, I decided that it reminded me more of an ancient tournament type of vibe. So I used more of the Under the Olive Tree sticker book, and I got some columns and statues and a gazebo, and then smaller elements that seem to be more like ancient medals and decorations and things like that. And then instead of book bracket, the kind of academic title that I thought was academic achievement, so they all like fight for who has the most academic achievement. The other change was in 2025 I had every 3 months I would then pick the book, whereas now I changed it so it's every 2 months, and then you have 3 and 3 competing for the last 2 spots. So I don't know if that's an easier way to do it or a harder one to pick the books, but they were the 2 options to kind of divide the year. So I've seen how it is now with the every 3 months. I wanted to see how it's gonna be with every 2 months, and if it's gonna be easier to change how the results work out. So yeah, I really like this page. I was adding more elements, and it was taking a little while, but at the end I found this page like really pretty. I don't know why. I did fill it up as much as I could, and then for any dead space I also then went over with a metallic pen, or I think I went over with all 3 metallic pens that I have, like gold and bronze and a different shade of gold, and I did dots to fill out like every space possible. I wanted to make it really busy, and then the book covers are gonna stand out a little bit once they are on. Oh, and these pens are from Shein and Amazon. The thicker ones are from Shein, the thinner one was from Amazon, as part of our wedding guest book, the free pens to write with it. So they don't have too much ink, those thin ones, but I am using them up. Then I was doing the A to Z challenge, and again I renamed that. Instead of an A to Z challenge, it became alphabetical exploration. And last year I tried to take most of the space on the pages themselves with the book covers, which led to me reshaping the books to be more square shaped, and I wanted to keep them more actual book cover shaped. So they took less space, and I tried to leave space at the top for more decoration. So I took a few different elements that looked like ancient cities. They look more like Byzantine cities, so not ancient Roman necessarily, but more Byzantium and ancient Greece, but northern Greece like Thessaloniki and Constantinople type of inspiration. So I had a sticker you'll see after, like an ancient Greek looking lady, and then at the bottom a more modern academic looking lady. So the idea is that it goes from top left to bottom right, in a way that's more like ancient writings from the ancient civilization going to the modern people visiting that civilization. And I put these on the alphabet page because the alphabet is something that is like a continuous connection from the ancient civilization to the modern one. And like, I know I'm putting the letters in English, but if you look at, like, obviously a lot of these letters were Greek inspired, and they developed from the Greek alphabet, which then turned into the Latin one, and like evolution of language, all of that. So I wanted that, like, that representation of the evolution of language through the alphabet, which connects like thousands of years of civilization. Is that a very complicated explanation? I don't think it is. Like, some of these pages just look cool. Some of these pages do have some deeper meanings. Obviously, I'm half Greek and I grew up in Greece and I speak Greek. So doing something academic naturally to me gravitated more towards ancient Greece and that kind of history in terms of academics. So yeah, some of these pages have either meanings that I wasn't originally planning, it came through when I was putting everything together, but it's either like the subliminal, subconscious inspiration or the results of my upbringing, I guess. But I really like how it turned out, and it blends that like ancient to modern kind of element quite well. And yeah, like you can literally walk around neighborhoods in Thessaloniki. And I used to live there, and it will be that kind of style of building that even like from Roman times, from further before that, that the ancient people were walking on the same streets, on the same ancient buildings that you now see, and you're like, oh, I can walk there, and thousands of years ago ancient people walked there too. I think that was a complicated explanation, but I do feel like I like sharing these things. Anyway, so the next page is a new page as well, once more, that I decided to do. So I think I saw Erin Smith do this, and she has her like 5-star, or I think she has 4.5 and 5-star books. I just wanted my 5-star books to have a space where I can say, okay, what were my favorite books of the year, and not have to look through every rating, but actually like find them somewhere. So I wanted to make a Hall of Fame kind of thing. It will just have the book covers, and I didn't want it to just be an empty page. I wanted something as a background, so I used this washi tape. That's again one of my favorites, the ones with the letters on the white background. And then I put gold foil tape and these corner stickers that I really like. They are paper, but they are thick paper. So I put that. It kind of looks like a frame, and again I named that Hall of Fame. I think it fits academic themes as well. I didn't know if I should make something more academic, but I didn't care. It looks good. And then it will have the book covers, and I also really like how it looks. Okay, my next page over here, which one is that? Oh yeah, this is the book list. So I had made a book list last year. There is a video that I have up, which is the overflow pages, because I ran out of my space for my book list this year. I read way more than I thought. I thought I would read maybe like 80 books tops, and now I'm like at 110. So when I reached at about 90 something, I ran out of space. So I have given a lot more space this time. I had 3 pages there, and I have a Dutch door system, so that the top and bottom decoration is only done once, but then you flip the pages and it is technically looking like the same page. But I had 3 of them, and now I left 5 because I've been reading a lot more than I expected by doing the reading journal. And as a side tangent, I have seen people trying to de-influence people from doing reading journals, and I don't understand why. Like, okay, maybe some people cannot sustain it, but for me, doing the reading journal made me read so much more. And I had started reading again, like maybe 3 years ago. I started reading the Akotar books, and it got me back into reading and back into fantasy. But actually doing the journal and having the challenges has made me read more, because I've been like, oh, I want to do this readathon, I want to do this challenge. I can't only read like 2 books this month, which there's nothing wrong with it. I was like, no, I need to read more, and I managed to read way more than I've ever read. So regardless of whether you do a journal for yourselves, or whether you watch my videos or other people's videos, you might just want to track it in like the simplest way possible, just a list. But I have found that doing all of this has motivated me to read so much more. Okay, so again, I used the same pack of washi tapes. I used the gold marker, and then I've been using two Tombos, one that is slightly more peachy and one that is a bit more neutral. And I did every other line highlighted, but alternating these two colors, which I really like. I believe the colors I've used are 990 and the other one is 910. So if you do have Tombos and you can't tell apart just from looking at it, which I wouldn't be, trust me on that, but yeah, 910 and 990. These are the two colors. The peachy is 910 and the other one is 990. So I named this one course syllabus, like if you were in university getting a reading list. So that was the idea. Then, oh my god, I talk a lot, but it's kind of fun because I like talking about these things. Right, so last year I had mistaken thinking that on Storygraph, which is where I log the books digitally on the app, the book genres, I thought it was a pie graph. So I had made pie graphs for each month for the genre, and it was not a pie graph on Storygraph, so I couldn't just copy over the pies because it was a bar graph, and I hadn't realized. So there was that, and then there was that a lot of books are multi-genre. So it would be fantasy romance, fantasy mystery, fantasy this, fantasy that. So my Storygraph stats and what I ended up putting on the pies didn't exactly match. So I decided that instead of pies this year, I am also going to do a bar graph. So every time I read a book, I want to log it as one square on that genre page. But I want to log this year not just the main genre, but every genre that it touches on. So if it's a fantasy LGBT, then I want to log it both as a fantasy and as an LGBT book. So I saw the TBR that I have at the moment, and I filtered that on Storygraph to see what genres it would give me. It mostly gave me about 100 fantasy and romance books. So I left spaces for 120 fantasy books, and it will go across the two pages, same for the romance, and then every other genre on the TBR was under 20. So I made a few different smaller graphs. The smaller ones have 17, and I didn't write the names. I only wrote fantasy and romance. I left space for the third one to be YA and to go across the entire thing, but I then left everything just kind of penciled in on the right page, the remaining ones, just so that when I get to that genre and I need to add a new genre, that is when I'm gonna write what the genre is, and if I need pages on the right page, then I'm gonna add there. Otherwise I can just put stickers if by the end of the year I hadn't read that many. And again, added the decorations, the stickers, everything else, and I forgot how I named it, even though it was just on the screen. Oh right, disciplinary breakdown. So that was the title. So that's why the stickers were a bit like a statue and cat and the typewriter. So I wanted to fit different genres. Then I went to do the dreaded bookshelf page, and it is one of the easiest pages to set up, but it's also really time consuming. So I used the washi tape for the shelves. It was a wood grain tape, thankfully, and I just put the tape where I wanted the shelves to be, and then I, off camera, did all of the books with pencil, so I knew and I could make sure that I had enough spaces. I then put this lovely stained glass window, and the title was library. I realized I had put it a bit too far on the right. I had to unstick it and stick them back on, and then I left spaces for some cool elements. So on the The books that are lying down, I then put a few little stickers with items that someone might decorate their shelves with, and then also I left some spaces that I can add an extra book. So where you see like there's 3 and there is spaces for a 4th, that space is only going to be used if I see that I am reading too much and I'm going to need those 4ths. So there is that. And I also made a smaller Dutch door because again I had to make an overflow page this year and I didn't want to do that. So that is about 120 books as well on that, and that seems to have done the trick. And then I made a page for new books acquired. So I have acquired a lot of books this year. I would say maybe about like 20, and I don't know if I will be buying that many books next year. Again, a lot of the books I bought I didn't actually buy, they were free from the library, and they were from like little free libraries as well. Some of them were bought. There are a few that I know I'm gonna buy, the new Dream Harbor ones when they come out, Maddie's new book, the Influencers Who Kill one. So I do know I will buy a few books, just I'm hoping not that many, but I still wanted to have a space to track, and then also the format. So are these special editions, are these hardcovers, are they paperbacks, how much did they cost, because I do want to know how much I've actually spent on books, and some of them might be zero, but there's that. So then I put 2 side stickers to keep the stats, and then again I leather washi tape those fences, PET tapes, I really like them, and then the small elements are from the other PET tape with all the little elements, which was great. I think it worked really well, especially for this page. So I don't want to be buying too many books. I also want to be giving books away that I don't want. But there are some books, if it's a 5-star book, if I love it, I want to keep it. So that's where I buy some stuff. And then I used 2 smaller washi tapes at the top, kind of as a background for the title. I like these. I didn't use them too much in these setups, I think. And yeah, so I went back to the gold letters, and instead of new books, I thought the more academic name would be acquisitions. And then I saw that these letter sheets have dollar signs and euro signs. They didn't have pounds, but I thought I'll just go with 3 of the dollar stickers, because where else am I going to use those? So now, seeing everything from the start, this is the cover page, which I ended up doing off screen because I just wanted to chill and I felt like not filming that. Then there is the bookshelf, which I really like how it turned out with the extra page in the middle. Then my book list, just standard, same design as last year, just in the different theme. I also really like how this turned out. Then I have the format analysis in the year published. Again, that every time I finish a book I use that page. Same for the genres. Again, I'm happy with it being unfinished and being built as it goes. I think that is perfectly fine, and how it would be better usable. The new books, I added a sticker up there as well with some bookshelves to not have it empty. Again, really happy with that. The stats, I'm excited again to track at the end of the month from Storygraph, just migrating data over. Same for the academic achievement, once a month I can add something. And then the challenges, again, every time I read a book, if it fits something, I can fill them up. Same for the alphabet challenge and the jellyfish and goober challenge. All of these, as I read a book, as and when they will be getting filled up. And then the Hall of Fame for my favorite books, really happy with that as well, to have that tracked. Then I've left some pages for the Aeldia challenge and the new series, because I might keep using the series pages that I have, because I'm using the same journal, so I don't see the point in making that yet. And yeah, this is pretty much it. And when Aeldia comes out, I'll make another video setting that up, but otherwise this is all I'm going to set up for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments, and please subscribe for more videos. Thank you for watching. Bye.